Scared to hustle because niggas is snitching so much. Maybe that's what's going on. I would be scared to hustle too when I know that every other nigga is snitching just so he don't want to do no time because he can't bear to be inside the jail system.
An explosive resurfaced clip has just shaken the internet, and this time it's Jay-Z holding the match. His voice, loud, clear, and direct, accusing Jim Jones of being a snitch. But here's where it flips from drama to full-blown scandal, because Jay-Z's own right hand at ROC Nation is already exposed as a federal informant, so now the streets are asking, why is Hov throwing shade now? And why aim his fire straight at Jim Jones, unless there's way more to this story than meets the eye?
Jones is listed as a federal informant in court documents in the case against Tekashi. In the original court transcripts that were previously released online, the conversation between individual 1, Jim Jones, is listed as cooperating with federal agents in a conversation with Jamal Murder Jones, which would explain why Jim Jones has been able to have such a lengthy criminal record and avoid prison time in the past.
If you've been watching closely, then you already know Jim Jones lit the match when he came for Nas. But the internet? It came swinging back with receipts. Old allegations, buried clips, and whispers turned into full-blown accusations, claiming Jim had cooperated with the feds years ago. But here's where things start to smell real funny. ... If Jay-Z's so anti-snitch, then why is his top ROC Nation executive a confirmed federal informant? And let's not forget Jay handed Jim a Roc Nation deal. So was it business, loyalty, or something deeper we're not seeing? The contradictions are screaming, and fans aren't letting it slide this time.
As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. Yeah, you understand?
Right.
And we here together.
I think we've passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Roc Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant.
Let's rewind to the leaked audio that lit the fuse. In this resurfaced clip, Jay-Z doesn't pull any punches. He flat out calls Jim Jones a fake, not just a weak rapper, but someone who doesn't even register as competition. According to Hov, Jim's presence in the rap game, it's not about bars. It's not about albums. It's about something else entirely. And that something else has fans raising eyebrows. Did Jay-Z know something dark about Jim long before the internet connected the dots? Because if he truly believed Jim was fake, or worse, an informant, why welcome him into ROC Nation's inner circle? Something ain't adding up, and now it's time to peel back the layers.
Brooklyn rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine pleaded guilty to federal charges, admitting he participated in a violent gang. He also pledged to cooperate with prosecutors. The rapper, whose legal name is Daniel Hernandez, said he joined the 9 Trey Blood Gang in the fall of 2017. He says he helped them try to kill a rival gang member last March. Prosecutors say the gang carried out acts of murder, robbery, and narcotics trafficking in Manhattan, the Bronx, and Brooklyn. The indictment also said each gang member was required to participate in at least 2 acts of racketeering conspiracy, which could include murder, robbery, extortion, or drug distribution. The plea deal could allow Hernandez leniency at sentencing.
Let's start with the whispers, the long-running rumors that Jim Jones is a federal snitch. These accusations have been circling for years. Believe it to 50 Cent to throw gasoline on the fire. In true 50 fashion, he didn't just bring it up, he dragged it right back into the spotlight with a savage Instagram post. The image, Jim posted up with Jay-Z, Diddy, Fat Joe, and a table full of industry titans. But the caption, that's what shook the room. 50 wrote, "Lol, individual 1, calling the shots out here. I know you're working, so please don't say gangsterish." To me, individual 1. So that wasn't just slick shade, that was a loaded public call-out. So what was 50 really trying to say? Because once you start peeling back the layers, all roads lead to one thing: the Tekashi 6ix9ine and racketeering case, and Jim's name came up in that mess more than once.
He definitely humiliating Shawty right now, bro.
Well, you got the picture up there next to the post. You're like, when you go to YouTube and World Star, they got his picture next to this. Hey, everything he say, they got a split screen with Shawty picture next to this. I said, this is crazy, son. But he's doing that to make K9 think he don't got no relationship with boy. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to live. He's trying to separate himself.
That's cool, but now he gotta get violated.
Yeah, super violated. super duper. So ain't too much he can really do unless he gonna run around with 100 armed securities all day. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get shot at penny.
He ain't getting enough money for that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And he just canceled all his shows.
And he ain't a gang member no more.
Nah, he ain't nothing.
That's what Shotty needs to make sure he do.
Nah, we
tell that he's not a gang member no more. He kicked out the whip. He was never a gang member. Shotty need to.
While Tekashi 6ix9ine was in court snitching on his entire 9-Trey crew, one wiretap flipped everything. Leaked recording, and Jim Jones was on the line. His voice clear, his words cold. He said Tekashi wasn't gang anymore. He needed to be violated. That one line sent shockwaves through the streets. Suddenly, people started connecting the dots fast. And once again, 50 Cent made sure the world paid attention. He didn't just talk about it. He posted the full transcript of the call. Word for word. No filters, no censorship. It was raw. It was real. And it raised a question no one could ignore. If Jim was on a call ordering a hit, why didn't the feds touch him?
Right? He ran with the same I ran with a decade before I met him. Jim Jones, the Dipset, the that was just over there dancing on verses. Jim Jones was running with Shotty, Cafano Jordan, right? Mel Matrix, Jamel Jones, Roll Murder, Roland Martin. He was running Fu Banger, Fuquan. I forgot his last name, Fuquan something. He was running with all of the cats I ran with and got his daddy for. You know what Jim Jones did? That nigga did not take care of none of them. Cause when I ran to them, Shotty was sleeping on the rug on Madison between Tompkins and Troop. Mel Murder was on Gates and Marcus Garvey with his baby mother. Roland Martin was just doing 9 years. He blew trial. That make them. That take care of them. From Shotty was sleeping on the rug, that driving a 6'3" Benz in 6 months, living in a condo, doing meetings with Kanye. Kanye was taking him to Yeezy meetings, board meetings. Matrix had his own, everything on his own. His kids was eating. Roland Martin came home to a new AP, watch, money, cars, everything. That Jim Jones did not take care of none of his. I took care of him. And on top of that, Jim Jones was caught on wiretap telling Jamel, look, Jim Jones was caught on wiretap. Jim Jones was caught on wiretap on my case, he was telling the big homie Mel Matrix, Jamel Jones, to go and get rid of my security. How you do it? How you shoot at them? They don't got no license to carry weapons, don't nothing in New York.
Wack also agrees with him and says that you can find the audio online because it was used in the trial. 6ix9ine and Wack both question why Jim Jones isn't in jail if he was caught on tape saying he was going to kill 6ix9ine, suggesting that he must have cooperated in the trial. 6ix9ine also starts making some accusations about Desiree Perez, the CEO of Roc Nation, but Wack shuts him down before he can say.
Let's take it back to 2018, the year Tekashi. 6ix9ine's entire empire came crashing down. He wasn't just facing heat, he got slammed with federal racketeering and weapons charges. Alongside key members of the 9-Trey Gangsta Bloods, one of the most feared and violent blood sets in the country. What most people didn't know? The feds had been quietly building this case for years, and when they finally moved in, Tekashi flipped faster than anyone could have predicted. By September 2019, in what's now infamous as the Tekashi Snitch Fest, he was on the stand. Naming names and spilling everything, he pointed fingers at Anthony Harv Ellison, Aljamia Nukmak, and a laundry list of 9 Trey hitters. He didn't just testify, he handed prosecutors a step-by-step blueprint of the entire operation. The courtroom wasn't just stunned. The streets were watching, and trust was collapsing in real time.
Did a little something for you in the studio. Then he had son the Old Boy.
This is Old Boy's already number 1?
Yeah, it's popping.
All right.
Yeah, I listened to it and I was like...
So where does Jim Jones fit into all this? This is where the story takes a serious turn. During Tekashi's trial, a wiretap was played in open court, and it allegedly featured Jim Jones himself. Speaking with Jamel Melmorta Jones, a high-ranking member of the 9-Trey Gangsta Bloods, the two weren't just catching up, they were discussing how to handle Tekashi. This was after Tekashi went rogue, disrespected the set publicly, and claimed he was done. And that phone call wasn't light talk, it was straight street politics. The tone was serious. The implications even more serious. Suddenly, the room was quiet. Fans, bloggers, and even legal experts started asking the same question. If Jim was involved in that conversation, why wasn't he charged? Like the rest?
The Rock Nation, Desiree Perez.
Good evening, everyone.
I say shout out to Desi. Shout out to Desi. She got me out the contract.
Rock Nation.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to Desiree.
Okay. You know about this?
Nah.
Desiree Perez became a cooperating witness for the DEA in the 1990s. She got arrested in 1994 for possession of 35 kilos of cocaine.
Desiree Perez and the whole wicked system of Rock Nation, including you, Jay-Z.
Yes.
You who say you rose from...
And what exactly was said on that wiretap? It wasn't coded, wasn't subtle. Jim Jones was allegedly heard saying Tekashi needed to be violated. Plain and direct, like a green light. That leaked tape had the internet in shock. Not just because it connected Jim to the upper ranks of 9 Trey, but because it sparked a firestorm of questions. How did Jim Jones end up on a federal wiretap, talking serious gang retaliation, and still walk away with 0 charges? No indictment, no subpoena, nothing. And that's when the whispers turned into full-blown theories. Because in a case where the feds left no stone unturned, Jim's clean getaway felt like more than just luck.
Remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we've passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Rock Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant. In 1994, Desiree Perez was arrested for bringing in 35 keys of Griselda Blanco into Miami. Under pressure, she agreed to wear a wire for the DEA. Quick side note, Desiree Perez is a name Dame Dash refused to say in this Breakfast Club interview.
Once a has certain friends, we don't even talk about them no more where I'm from.
Now, around that same time, Jay-Z and Perez spearheaded Rock Nation's prison reform initiative with Meat Mill. I guess their hard work paid off, because on the 19th of January 2021, this list was released. Desiree Perez's criminal past had just been wiped clean by the...
Right after Tekashi's courtroom circus, streets lit up. People weren't just gossiping, they were demanding answers. Because how does Jim Jones get caught on a federal wiretap, talking about violating someone, and still walk away as the only 9 Trey affiliate who never got indicted? No charges, no arrests. It's just silence. It didn't make sense, and the silence only made it louder. What started as whispers quickly exploded into full-blown rumors that maybe Jim was working with the feds, or at the very least, cooperating just enough to dodge the fallout, while everyone else took the hit. And once that theory hit the internet, there was no turning back. And no one leaned into that theory harder than Whack 100. He didn't sugarcoat it. Straight up called Jim Jones a federal informant. According to Whack, the only reason Jim never saw a courtroom was because he was making deals behind the scenes playing ball with law enforcement. And Whack didn't just say it once and move on. He kept that same energy everywhere. Every clubhouse session, every interview, every mic he got in front of. He even went toe-to-toe with Tekashi himself, dragging the conversation right back into the spotlight. Whack dared Jim to clear his name, to show receipts, to prove he wasn't working with the feds. But Jim, crickets, no press conference. Denial. No explanation. And just when the silence got deafening, it got even messier. Then came the twist no one saw coming. Jaja, a former Dipset insider, stepped in and poured gasoline on an already blazing fire. She didn't mince words. She claimed Jim Jones didn't just protect himself, he set up his own day one. Morta. Said she had receipts. Said she knew the play. And just like that, streets went from whispering to full-on calling Jim a Judas. So now that we've unraveled the whole, is Jim Jones a snitch? Saga, it's time to circle back to Jay-Z. Because if Hav really lined Jim up for a quiet public takedown, then we need to rewind the clock and figure out how deep does this beef really run. And has Jay been playing chess from the very start? This beef ain't new. Jay-Z and Jim Jones been locked in tension for over a decade. We're talking deep roots, all the way back to the early 2000s. The first real spark? 2002. That's when Dame Dash brought Cameron and Jim Jones into the ROCO fella fold. And almost instantly, things got shaky. Jim claimed Cam was promised the vice president title, a big move. But Jay, he didn't back it, he told the source at the time. That's not taking effect as of yet. I think the talk is a little premature right now. Translation. Jay-Z wasn't co-signing the promotion and Cam and Jim felt the disrespect. Instantly. What made it worse? All this drama unfolded while Jay was already knee-deep in his legendary feud with Nas. The label was splitting. Loyalties were shifting. And seeds of resentment between Jay and Jim were planted deep. So what does Jay do next? He jumps on the remix of Cameron and Joel Santana's breakout hit, Oh Boy, using it as a slick opportunity to throw shots at Nas. But Cam and Jim? They weren't having it. They saw the move for what it was. A power play. Cam straight up cut Jay's verse from the track and refused to drop the remix altogether. Later, Cam made it crystal clear. He wasn't about to let Jay hijack their moment just to settle his own beef. That right there lit the fuse. From that moment on, Cam and Jim felt like Jay-Z never respected them. Not as artists, not as men. The tension turned to animosity. Jim started taking shots anywhere he could. Interviews, radio, even in the streets. He painted Jay as this out-of-touch, polished-up corporate mogul. Someone too far removed from the grind to understand. Real loyalty, real street codes, or real struggle. And just like that, the rift became personal and permanent. Jim Jones positioned himself as the street's last soldier. Real talk, real loyalty, no industry switch-ups. He made his stance loud and clear. He didn't mess with informants. No snitching, no cooperation, no passes. And that's what makes this whole saga even messier. Because back then, Jim was calling out anyone who even looked like they folded under pressure. Meanwhile, inside ROCO, Jay-Z kept it cool. No public response. But behind the scenes, the tension was thick enough to cut. Then came 2006. Jim dropped We Fly High, and it exploded. Radio clubs, streets, everywhere. And apparently, that success struck a nerve because Jay clapped back with a remix of his own, Brooklyn High. But Jim, he wasn't letting that slide. He returned fire with the We Fly High beef mix. And this time, he didn't hold back. He took direct aim at Jay, mocking his age, his image, and his credibility with bars like, told your old A** to chill. Better slow down before your old A** gets killed. Asterisk that wasn't just a diss, that was open warfare. It didn't stop with the music. By 2008, the beef left the booth and hit the pavement. Things got real when security footage surfaced. Jim Jones caught on camera throwing hands inside a Louis Vuitton store, and the target, not just some random. It was Lenny Santiago, Jay-Z's longtime A&R, a major industry figure, and one of Hov's closest allies. Jim was arrested and eventually pled guilty to misdemeanor assault. That wasn't just messy, that was personal. Jay, he stayed quiet at first. But months later, he came out swinging in an XXL interview. No name drops at first, just subtle jabs. He criticized certain songs for dragging the culture down. Then he made it crystal clear. I mean, like Jim Jones, for example. I don't mean this because we never see eye to eye. Then came the real disrespect. Jay-Z mocked the Dipset anthem, comparing We Fly High to Trey Songz' Smiley Face, even throwing Soulja Boy into the mix. He said Jim's hit might as well have been called Smiley Face Part 2, that hit hard. Coming from Jay, who'd rarely acknowledged Jim in public, this wasn't just shade, it was a takedown. After that, the heat cooled down slightly. But by 2015, Dipset came right back with the smoke. Cam and Jim dropped a fiery freestyle over Diddy's legendary Victory beat, and the subliminals were long gone. They clowned Jay, dragged ROC Nation, and tore into the now iconic ROC brunch. Too soft, too polished, too corporate. Said Jay couldn't claim the streets no more. But then, out of nowhere, Jim flipped the entire script. After over a decade of throwing shots, February 2017 flipped the whole script. Out of nowhere, Jim Jones started begging for a seat at Jay-Z's table. And just like that, 13 years of non-stop beef ended with a ROC Nation contract. But here's the real twist. Jim didn't move in silence. He went loud, bragging about the ROC Nation brunch, the same event he once clowned.
Oh.
He was cheesing in photos, praising Jay, and doing the most to prove loyalty.
Ow.
From bashing the brand to becoming its loudest cheerleader, Jim was all in. Jay, cold as ever. No welcome post, no joint photo, no public cosign, just paperwork, strictly business. And that said it all. This wasn't a reunion, it was a power move. Some folks say this wasn't peace, it was chess. Because pattern. He absorbs his rivals. Think about it, the Locks, Fat Joe, Meek Mill, even J. Cole, all had rocky moments with Hov. And they all ended up under ROC Nation. As for Jim, even after signing, Jay kept his distance. No collabs. No shoutouts. Just silence. So now fans are asking, was Jay keeping space to protect the ROC Nation brand? Especially with those Tekashi wiretap rumors and snitching allegations still hovering over Jim's name? And here's where it gets real tricky. Jay-Z's hole. Image is I don't rock with snitches, but what if? That's just branding. Because let's not forget his right-hand woman. ROC Nation President Desiree Perez is a confirmed federal informant. That's not gossip. It's public. Record. So if Jay is comfortable running his empire with a known informant at the top, why would he ice out Jim Jones over just rumors? That's when the deeper theory took over. What if Jay's playing both sides? What if this was never about loyalty, but about power? Jay never needed Jim but Jim. Jim needed Jay. And when Jim's name got wrapped in those wiretaps, Jay did what he always does, protect the brand. So maybe Jay wasn't mad that Jim might have snitched. Maybe he was mad Jim wasn't snitching for him. Let that sink in, because if that's true, it raises a bigger question. What does ROC Nation really stand for? Music, integrity, or just straight up business no matter how dirty it gets? Well, let you decide. If you rocked with this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and send this to someone who needs to hear the real story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose side are you on in this one? We'll catch you in the next one. Stay locked. Stay woke. Stay tuned.